As you can see, we have left the studio this morning. We are sitting in the beautiful entryway at Allon Planning Partners in East Brainerd, talking with Brittany and Jay Hagy. Good to see you.
Great to see
you too.
So, we all talk about our physical health and our mental health. We don't spend a lot of time talking about our financial health. Y'all do each and every day.
It's a shame because they all intertwine, right?
They do.
Whether you want it to or not, if you're being affected by your financial health being not so healthy, it's going to affect your emotions. It's going to affect your physical body. It's going to take a toll. And so we need to talk about it.
I'm going to set you up.
Okay.
Okay.
We're ready.
So we were talking off camera a little bit, and I asked Jay the question, how did you get into this? That's a fair question.
Yep.
Both of you come from your dads were ministers.
That's right.
You were a minister for a while.
I was.
And you kind of felt this calling to go this way.
I did, and because I was ministering in a church as an executive pastor, so overseeing finances and things like this, and that was in Florida. And so we actually were married here in Cleveland, so we have roots in Chattanooga, moved to Florida to be a part of a ministry there. And so as I'm teaching the financial pieces and, the Dave Ramsey courses there, I have one of my really good friends approach me about the ability of being a financial professional. Never thought about it before, but I really felt that calling into, okay, we need to expand what we're teaching and doing here beyond the walls of the church that we're in. So yes, that's how I got into this business.
I set you up because if you're a minister, you're seeing a lot of vulnerable sides to people. Yeah. It just segues now into another way, and this way you can actually help people. So
absolutely.
When folks come to you and they say, I want to have a stronger financial health, does that look different for everybody, or is there kind of a common theme?
Well, there is kind of a baseline, right? There is a baseline as to what is financial health.
Right.
And really, financial health is just the ability to pay for unexpected expenses either now or in the future. So things that may arise unexpectedly, health issues or auto issues or whatever may come along, that you have resources to pull from to do that. Now that includes things like retirement, right?
That's
to make
right.
sure that you have funds for not just to make a down payment on your home when you buy it in a couple years, but for retirement.
Right now, right?
right.
So you may need that, but inflation has went through the roof. But to make sure that you can reach your financial debts right now, you can actually pay for your lifestyle. And then those unexpected things that come up as well.
Well, and also the debt. You got to look at that, making sure your debt to income it's not overwhelming the other, that you're not over leveraged.
That's right.
That's a big piece of financial health.
Okay, so let's examine a little bit of what you've discussed, because you mentioned the eggs, but there are plenty of people watching thinking, yeah, right, how can I save anything?
How am I supposed to save in this market?
Right, and I'm in my 50s now. When my girls were younger, all I wanted to make sure of was that I could afford what I wanted for them. So are there seasons of your life that do you look at it that way?
Always look at it as seasons. Actually, our name being Allon, which is the oak tree, and part of the scripture we took that from talks about thriving in all seasons, talks about in every season that tree bear fruit, right? And that's what we want to do when we create financial plans, is to make sure we understand there are seasons, whether it's in our economy and the inflation and the recession that we're dealing with, or really good seasons that we have, that we are approaching each season correctly so that we have a plan to get to where we want to go. So we're not stressed out in those negative seasons so much, right?
So if the season you're in right now is that you're grateful because you got through this pay period and had not a negative balance, that's a victory.
That's a win.
It's okay.
And we've got to celebrate those small victories.
That's exactly right.
That's something that we teach our clients all the time. Don't miss the opportunities to celebrate those small steps forward. If you're saving $50 more a year than you did last year, that's a small victory. It may seem small here, but look, that really adds up over time.
It really is about being intentional and having a plan, because it's the old adage, right? If you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. That's the basis of what we're going at.
Okay, so then let's talk about debt, because you can't have this conversation and not talk about debt. Sometimes you just simply have to have the debt. That just happens. Sometimes impatience, I guess, can create a debt. So is that part of the philosophy of having that plan?
Very much so, and we do not want to see anyone over leveraged. We don't want to see someone not able to sleep at night, the anxiety because of a want versus a need, right?
Well, and I'll share a quick story here. We had a family call us a few weeks ago who were looking for some help because they made a 7-figure income but they were spending well above and beyond that. And their debt load was extremely high, and they were feeling like, I'm drowning in this because I don't even know how to attack this, right?
My dad always told me, if you make $10 million a year and you spend $10 million in one, you're broke.
Yeah.
It does not matter. It's about a spending plan. It's about getting it within what your means are. And inflation has caused a lot of folks to be out of their means, and without their intention, right? So it's about going back to, let's plan with where we're at right now so that we don't find ourselves in unnecessary debt.
Okay, so when you're looking at a person's financial health, and each one is going to look a little bit different, how do you analyze that? Is it just how they feel emotionally about the state of their money?
It's a number of things. That's a big part of it. You've got to consider the emotional aspect that our dollars have on us, because it does make a difference. You got to look at what we talked about earlier. How much debt are you spending, or how much debt do you have? Are you overspending? And then, do you have proper and adequate savings? Can you keep up with the expenses you have to maintain your household? So those are kind of the core components to the financial health picture.
For the ones who are living with a lot of that debt, once they kind of come clean, if you will,
You have to.
did they just feel freed?
Oh man, if until you live debt free, you really can't explain it. You have to live it, but it is attainable, right? There are ways to help you, and that's where we start with most conversations is, what's a spending plan look like for you? What are the assets that you have? What's the income that you have? And what's the debt load that you're carrying, so that we can adequately speak to it, right? Is all this debt necessary? Is some of it necessary, but some of it, right? And unnecessary. What is going to get us to the best healthy spot for you? And that typically is being debt free, and we fight for our clients to get to that debt free lifestyle. For mortgages and things like this, it could take years, right? And years. Cars could take some years, right? But there are debts that we pile on ourselves, credit card debt, things that revolve and turn over, that we have to kill fast and furious if we want to live that freedom that you're talking about.
Listen, I've been there with, like I said, when my kids were younger, and the idea of thinking about financial planning was non-existent thought for me, because all I wanted was to get them into the camp or get them into, right? But life does move on into a new season, and you do want to make sure you're protected when that time comes.
Well, and 60% of Americans struggle with the financial burden, the fear of their finances, and struggling with not having enough and worrying about their financial situation. And just like Jay mentioned earlier, so much of that worry comes from just not knowing, not really having the knowledge or the understanding of even their own financial picture, basic budget and expenses, or spending plan and expenses, those types of things. And when we're able to really understand, okay, here's my plan. If this happens, then this. If this happens, then this. Having those contingency plans in place for some of those unexpecteds, and preparing properly for college savings for our kids, for retirement planning to ensuring that we have income when the time comes. When you've done your due diligence, you can lay your head down at night and know, I've done all I can do. I've controlled what I can control, right? I've controlled my risk tolerance, and I've invested properly. I've controlled my spending, that I'm not overspending, I'm living within my means. And you can rest easy, because again, we're breaking that cycle, that vicious cycle of the fear that just overtakes us, and
it's become an American trait.
Well, and I know there are people that we're speaking to right now that are feeling that way. There's people watching this show right now that feel heavy and burdened. And we're basically here just to say, there's hope.
Right.
You do not have to continue living this way. You may look at your budget, you may look at things and be like, well, you tell me where the hope is, right? And that's what we do. That's why we ask people to come in and see us. We give a no obligation appointment for the first time to see, can we assist you? Can we help you? Can we show you a better way? And that's what we want to do for folks.
Then let me show them your number. Because their passion for it just exudes, doesn't it? So it's Allon Planning Partners on East Brainerd Road, I-75, at that East Brainerd Road exit. Their phone number and website, they're on your screen. Thank you.
Thank you, Julie.
Seems like CBD stores are popping up on every corner. Make sure you choose a knowledgeable vendor you can trust, like the Hemp House. Choose from products that are locally sourced from farmers we work with directly. Our friendly staff will help you find the right product for you. The Hemp House on the North Shore, Eastridge, and Ooltewah.
Since 1979, we have proudly been serving the Chattanooga community. With your support, we have grown beyond our